maybe I got something right this time.
Thank you for doing this, Ian.
My pleasure.
We did this once before at your home in Chelsea.
Many years ago.
Many moons, yeah.
Many years ago.
Now, you began your sort of professional musical life at Bobby Orr Pizza in Peterborough in 1972.
It was the only one in the franchise, and I was fired after the first night. It was an inauspicious start. I had already released an album at that time, and it was called Moose Tracks. And it was, we did that in 1970, and it was one of the first of what would be called the Woodshed albums. We just said, okay, well, let's do it somewhere. So we went down to OISE, the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, and did it in a language lab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long did that take to do?
One day.
Really? Wow.
We had rehearsed the album to death, and I did it, and then I made 200 copies, and that was it.
I can imagine that over the years you've had many highlights.
Yeah, I have. One of them being, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I was playing at a place in Cantley called Lagrange, and it had a series, and I was doing a song called Tiger Lily Road, about a love affair in Quebec, but a love affair with Quebec at the same time. And in the middle of the song, I sing the line, she showed me the key, the blue and white and fleur-de-lis, always the river, evenings spent lost in song, Leclerc, Vignon harmonium, and at that point there was an applause. And at the end, a standing ovation for the song in the middle of the set, which has never happened before. Well, it turned out when I finished the set, it was members of Harmonium in the audience.
Oh, wow.
So
That's quite special.
Yeah, it was very special. You know, those are the kinds of things that I think are particularly special in my career. Not the big events, awards or whatever. I mean, they're important and they're on my mantelpiece, but
Yeah.
those other smaller events are more special.
Your new album, The Fragile Tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
I had collected these songs, and the last album I did was during COVID, or just at the outset of COVID, and the album was called A Longing for Innocence. In many cases, those songs were about that. They were more innocent songs. And this album is more urban, I would say, and though I don't really think of it at an end of a career, many of the songs are sort of retrospective in nature and looking either at the future or the past, you know. So that's what, I mean, the title song is about the fragile tangent, which in your first question you were asking about, a lifetime spent on that fragile tangent of these places that aren't the concert halls of Canada. They're church basements and coffee house series that are held together by the community that supports it, and that's been my career. So that's where the title came, but also the fragile tangent is just, you know, the fragile tangent of writing, the fragile tangent of making a living out of this, out of songwriting, you know. So there's the internal fragile tangent of what's left of my brain. So there's many fragile tangents. Let's just put it that way.
The one thing I noticed, your voice is quite strong on the album. Do you feel there's been a change?
I think the change has happened over. You know, it's just the natural aging of a voice.
Yeah.
I have to lower the keys to several songs now because I just can't hit the higher note. So it may have given me a false sense of maturity.
I felt on some of the songs, there's like a Mark Knopfler feel to some of them.
I think
Would that be fair?
totally fair. I'm a fan of Mark Knopfler. Not every one of his albums. Sometimes his albums are sleepers, and I go, "What happened?" But at his best, he's a brilliant guitar player and a great storyteller. Mm-hmm. And his vocal delivery is just perfectly suited to his songs. But there is one song on this album called Middle of the Middle where I know there's a phrase that is directly, I left it, I could have changed it, but I said, okay, that was a Mark Knopflerism. And I just in the phrasing of the song, it's in the second verse of, or maybe it's in the first chorus. So you're right.
Am I right that this is your first album that's available on Bandcamp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The other album are available on CD Baby.
Okay.
As downloads. Bandcamp seems to be in ascension, so I put it on Bandcamp, and that's given access to people to listen to it before purchasing it or whatever. Or maybe they don't purchase it, but they get a chance to hear it.
Since we're talking about albums, should we properly talk about albums?
Sure.
Your go-to album, Oliver Arnold.
Here it is.
Remember.
Yes, I brought it with me. Olafur Arnold. He's from Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
He has another group called Kiasmos. I prefer him on a solo. He's part of this renaissance of players from Iceland, and I just find him brilliant. And I play. It's sad, or melancholy. Let's put it that way. He even agrees the piece that you referred to, to my mind, a melancholy. But I just find that Nordic music or that Nordic sensibility quite wonderful. And the melodies are often simple, but then made complex by the layering with keyboards and synths and everything else. It's really special. I'm a huge fan. Went and saw him. Where did at Algonquin a few years ago, and it was the most chill concert I've ever been into. It was like there were 1,000 people who were just enjoying it. It was, say, the opposite of Chili Gonzalez. Where he's eliciting a response and and is outrageous, and he's fantastic in that way. Well, Olafur Arnold's was just cool as cool could be.
Now, a Sunday morning album, John Martin, Solid Air.
Solid Air or Bless the Weather?
You gave me Solid Air, but let's talk about both.
Yes. Solid Air was one of those albums, very much like Van Morrison's Astral Weeks, because Astral Weeks attracted the artists, not just musicians, but artists. And the same thing with John Martin's Solid Air. There was something about it in its poetry or in its sonicness that welcomed artists in who saw something in it and were inspired by it. It's really a spacey, druggy album. And Steve Winwood, who had been, in Spencer Davis Group and then
Traffic
and Blind Faith as well.
Oh, yeah.
He would develop stage fright or something. So he was playing with John Martin, but behind the scenes. Didn't even have his name mentioned,
really?
But he was filling in with the pads and piano and organ and synth pads, for several years. And then he and Martin at that time had sort of had mastered digital loops with an echoplex or two echoplexes sometimes.
That's right. Yeah.
So he was an early sampler, only it was done, with physical tape.
Hmm.
And some people still seek them for the slight warble or catch in them. And they're, but it's a beautiful, quiet album. And so is his first album, Bless the Weather. So,
I don't really know that one. Are they similar in sound, or?
Bless the Weather is more acoustic sounding rather than the loops, and
Okay.
that it's not as spacey as Solitaire.
Because Solitaire definitely has a sound to it that you know it's him right away.
Yeah, and similarly with that first album of Van Morrison's, and also another album which has kind of slipped by people, but it shouldn't have, called Weed and Fleas by Van Morrison. Another great album, really good album.
The first album you bought?
As a early teenager, I succumbed to the advertisements of the Columbia Music Club, and so I got 5 CDs for $1 or something ridiculous.
Maybe a penny even, some of them.
Maybe, but then you were hooked into the Columbia catalog. But the first 3 albums was Lefty Frizzell, Johnny Cash, and Johnny Horton. So
that's a good start.
it was, Long Black Veil, The Man in Black, of course, Folsom Prison. And I didn't know it at the time, but Johnny Cash had a Canadian manager at the time. And so he toured Canada quite often.
An album that stands the test of time. Judy Collins.
Judy Collins, yeah. I have that here in my life. Yes. I mean, she was a folk singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she was doing on this Marat Sade from the musical. 4 years after the Revolution and the old king said. So it was outside the folk world. And in that sense, it kind of broke down that wall at the same time as Dylan was breaking down the wall at Newport. Judy Collins was doing it in her own way. So here's a list of Tom Thump's Blues by Dylan, Hard Lovin' Loser by Richard Farina, Pirate Jenny by Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill, and Suzanne Cohen, and then La Colombe by Jacques Brel. So the eclecticism of it. And she also was the first person before Tom Rush to introduce songwriters into her albums. I mean, the second one is Marat Sade. This is by Weiss, and Poor Old Marat, Randy Newman, Donovan, Lullaby by Kelly, another Cohen song, and then In My Life by Lennon McCartney. So it's eclecticism. That's why it introduced all these people, and then Tom Rush introduced Jackson Browne, Murray McLaughlin, and Joni Mitchell. And it was actually Judy Collins that really introduced Joni Mitchell's stuff, both sides now.
Now, the last album you bought, The Very Best of Ray Charles.
Yes. Here. Fabulous. I mean, the songs and pieces on this go from sort of late 50s into the 60s, and you can hear the evolution of his voice. He had several voices. Like early on, he was singing more like Nat King Cole, and he was also a really good piano player and saxophone player. I didn't, but there's not on this one, but I've got another album where he's playing with Fathead Newman, and it's 1956, in which half the album is him playing saxophone, which I didn't know before.
No, I didn't.
But then he, much to the chagrin of the religious community, he took from gospel and adapted that voice into secular songs. But he got in trouble with the church for that. It's in the same way that Sam Cooke did too. Nat King Cole was a pretty hot piano player too. And those guys were kind of chasing Art Tatum at the time, and Ray Charles became more blues based in his piano playing, but early on he's dancing. The light's
That's right.
fantastic.
Now, an album that more people should hear, Jesse Winchester.
Love Filling Station. This album was the second last album that he produced. It was done after he returned to the United States. And this song, the song on here that's just fantastic is Shalaling Dong Ding. And he did that song on Elvis Costello's show. If you get a chance, or listeners get a chance to listen to it, check it out, because he's playing the song, and in the middle of it, Nico Case, who's also on the show, begins to tear up. And Elvis Costello just puts his guitar down, and Ray LaMontagne puts his guitar down. And at the end of it, there's just this pause, and I said, like, that's it. That's songwriting.
Because he was known for his songwriting and not necessarily for his albums. Would that be fair?
I think so. He had, I would say, an uneven recording.
Okay.
He sort of a lesson to all. He did a couple of happy albums, and happy albums. People are happy that you're happy, but often you don't need to hear that album that many times, you know. And so he did that, and but this album stands up really well. His first album that Robbie Robertson did, with some of the hit songs like Yankee Lady and Brand New Tennessee Waltz and that. I listened to it recently, and the production on the album is really not very good. Even considering Robbie's producing it and the band playing on it, the actual sound of the album is dreadful. I don't know why that happened or how it happened, but it's true. So maybe it seemed like he had a checkered recording career. I have one more thing to show you that I brought. I hope it's here. And I just got it yesterday from the same place where I bought. This is Jeff Beck, Emotion and Commotion.
Oh, yes.
And on it, the rockers probably won't like this, but he does a stirring version of Nessun Dorma.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's unbelievable, And then at the end, he does this fabulous piece called Elegy for Dunkirk, which was done for a movie on Dunkirk. And then the third track, Never Alone. It's just, and then he does Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And it's just,
quite a mixture.
Oh, it's just brilliant. The guitar tone, to me, there's no question that Jeff Beck is the top electric guitar player. Clapton is maybe 5 on my list.
What would be the others, 2 to 4?
Ry Cooder would be there. I'd have to include Django Reinhardt. Number 4. It gets crowded. It gets crowded.
And then Clapton.
And then Clapton.
What are your plans going forward over the next little while?
Well, my plans is to represent this new album, The Fragile Tangent, and it's funny. You like it, I guess, and it seems others have too. I've had a very good response to this album. I think in part because I put it on Bandcamp. So I'm hearing from people in Great Britain, from Japan, from the United States. A radio station in the United States played 7 tracks of it yesterday on a Sunday morning show.
Wow!
And so it has come to people's attention. And I think probably Bandcamp has got something to do with that. Either that, or I'm like the monk who keeps tapping on the typewriter, banging on the guitar, and maybe I got something right this time.
Thank you for doing this. I always enjoy speaking with you, and
My pleasure.